Is Boris Johnson as Prime Minister priced in? Right, and does it make it more likely that we have a Labour Prime Minister, i.e. Jeremy Corbyn, or a second referendum, or a no deal? I don't know out of those three possibilities what the market is actually actively looking at.
Well, if you look at the betting market is pricing Boris Johnson as a strong favourite, and so the market tends to take its cue from that. But I think what the market is not fully factoring in is that there would likely be, if he is confirmed as leader after all of the election campaign, is then that there will probably be a resurgence of the Conservative Party in opinion polls, and then once they realise that they can't actually deliver on a no-deal Brexit, they're much more likely to go to a general election. And I think the market is not pricing that as a significant risk, which is growing.
David, I was coming in today in the Bentley made with British steel, which I guess will be no more, and I was sort of thinking about the sequential path of what we see over the next coming weeks. To me, the first thing is what the Europeans will do in Brussels with Prime Minister Merritt or Prime Minister Johnson or Prime Minister Lacroix, whoever it is. How do you presume Europe will respond to a new Tory Prime Minister?
Well, Tom, that is the question. But, you know, it's unlikely they're going to respond any differently to how they've been responding to Mrs. May. So, you know, there is a version of Brexit that the European Union have offered. They say that is final. And if anything, I think a more aggressive approach from a new Prime Minister may see Europe hardening its stance as well. So, you know, it's going to come back to Parliament. Do you want this version of Brexit or something else, an election or a referendum to potentially cancel the whole thing?
So what has changed? I mean, let's say we get Prime Minister Johnson. He's all lathered up. He wins. He's got an October 31 date. Do I need to book my trip to England October 26th? I mean, is that what we're doing, another week in October in London?
I think we'll see over the summer, whoever is the Prime Minister, which way this is going to go. Is that deadline in October really realistic? It doesn't look that way from where I'm sitting. We're going to have another extension possibly into next year to get anything more done, because, as I said earlier, you've got to change Parliament in order to get some sort of different outcome here, because Parliament cannot agree as things stand.
Jun.10 Fenby would like to weigh in as only Jun.10 Fenby can. Jun.10, you're listening to this discussion with David Wired Up. Let me ask you an open question. What's the Fenby response?
Well, I've just come back from Paris, and all I can say is that people, the French, are not going to give way to Boris Johnson or anyone else. Indeed, some of the people I spoke to in Paris were saying, you know, really, are you going for Boris Johnson now? Is that what we're facing at the end of this long process? And they'll be very resistant, the French, to any change in the deal or any new delay. The Germans may be slightly more emollient, but you've got a strong French position there, I think.